Nobody was prepared for what just happened on live television. What started off as a typical reunion show descended into the most shocking scandal in the history of hip-hop and love. When Rasheeda found out that Kirk Frost had secretly married Jasmine months prior, in addition to messing around with her once more, cameras captured her face. Yes, you heard correctly. Behind Rasheeda's back, a full marriage. The crowd became quiet. Members of the cast froze. Before the screen went dark, Rasheeda got to her feet and said, "You married her." But what actually went on behind the scenes? What was the duration? Is Kirk concealing it? And how has Jasmine managed to hide everything up to this point? Answers are being demanded by fans. There is a social media crisis, and the Frost Empire will never get over this treachery. The falsehoods are coming apart quickly, so fasten your seatbelt. A little shade, some tears, and a few traditional clapbacks were all part of the plan for this reunion. The Love and Hip Hop Atlanta cast had assembled in a glistening studio with warm gold lighting. Energy humming and lights, that was a warning sign. No one anticipated the tempest that was building just beyond the curtains, but fans were tuned in and prepared for chaos. Rasheeda cry-drived in a princely appearance. Sharp shoes, a scarlet bodycon dress, and eyes that made it clear she wasn't playing. Kirk trailed closely after, grinning as normal as if nothing had happened. There was a faint but noticeable tension between them, the type of coldness that camera lenses are unable to conceal. It felt like miles, even though they were just inches apart. Kirk avoided making eye contact and shifted in his seat as if he had something to confess but wasn't ready for the world to hear it. Even the crew sensed this. In her confessional, Rasheeda said, "I'm here to clear the air," prior to she sat down. Her eyes bore the weight of years of treachery, but her voice was firm. And if Kirk got anything else he hiding, tonight's the night. Stretched second chances and cover-ups to get skinny. She had no idea that the truth was going to blow up in her face. The program began with the group, including Scrappy, Bambi, Carly Red, Young Jock, Spice, and others, laughing and teasing each other. Jasmine was sitting quietly and peacefully over to the side, too silent. Her eyes darted to Kirk every few seconds, as if they were sharing a secret, but her body language remained composed. They actually did. Big Tiger, the host, smirked and added, "Let's talk about growth." "You guys have been through a lot, Kirk Rasheeda. What is the current situation?" Rasheeda inhaled deeply. "We share parental responsibilities. We manage our companies and make an effort to maintain trust while maintaining respect." She hesitated. "That's a very different matter." The crowd applauded. Kirk put on his best, encouraging husband's look and nodded. It was the same face he had worn many times before. One that had a TV-ready appearance, yet there was always something hidden beneath the grin. Jasmine's lips, however, quirked. Was it a grin? What the audience didn't know yet was that Jasmine had turned up to the taping with a new type of confidence. There was a change. She was here for more than just self-defense and argument. She was suppressing something significant. Backstage while cosmetics and hair are being done. As she adjusted her microphone, producers observed that she was acting strangely. Jasmine just grinned. "Yes, I am more than fine. I'm finally receiving what I deserve, let's say." Before putting a sealed package in her handbag, her helper whispered something in her ear. "On set, are you going to open that?" With an eyebrow raised, the assistant inquired, "Only if they push me." With a smirk and an unwavering confidence, Jasmine answered. Rasheeda became aware of the little indicators during the commercial breaks. Jasmine remained composed. Kirk felt uneasy, avoided making eye contact, and continued to whisper to producers while looking at his phone. Just one point. He even took a restroom break and didn't come back to the platform for about 10 minutes. He hesitated to look Rasheeda in the eyes when he returned, and his face was plastered with that uneasy smile. He continued to adjust his microphone while staring at the ground and patting his knee as if his thoughts were in another place. "You all right?" she eventually asked him at a low mic time. "Yeah," Kirk murmured, "just thinking about everything." However, Rasheeda was aware of Kirk's deceit. Her stomach had already shouted at her, and it was doing so once again now. But this Time the in real time, the truth was about to collapse. As all was going on, Twitter was exploding at LHATLT Jasmine to calm evening. At Reunion Queen, she is concealing something. Why is Kirk behaving as though are you going to faint? LMAO at Rasheeda Austin. I'm afraid? Energy is crazy. It's coming, everyone. Since segment 3 was wrapping up, even the show's editors were caught off guard by what was about to happen. Before we wrapped, Jasmine raised her microphone and begged to speak. Calmly, Jasmine remarked, I simply want to be honest. I've been silent for a while, allowing others to call me names, degrade me, and act as though I'm just the side girl while in reality, the audience is leaning in. I'm not just Kirk's ex. I'm not just his baby mom. Kirk froze as Rasheeda blinked. I'm his wife. The whole studio became silent, and even the people behind the camera gaped, as though reality had been put on hold. Why did you just say that? Halfway out of her seat, Rasheeda stood up and said, You heard me? Taking something from her handbag, Jasmine murmured. Do you want evidence? She produced this sealed package and revealed a marriage license within. 6 months ago. Notarized and signed. Unquestionable, official, and lawful. Big Tigger's jaw fell agape. Hold on. As she slipped the envelope in his direction, Jasmine said, This real? Real as it gets. I've been keeping quiet, but I'm sick of hiding. We got married, quietly. Kirk was not interested in theatrics. I'm not embarrassed, though. The room exploded. Screams, gasps, and startled laughs. As Bambi covered her mouth, with her hands in shock, Scrappy muttered, Yo, what the F *** K? A mouthful of spices. Within seconds, producers screamed from the other side of the stage, Cut! Someone rushed outside to attempt to stop the camera, but it was too late. The cameras were in motion. The internet was observing. The video had already been captured on camera, gone viral, and changing the entire history of hip-hop and love. As Jasmine gave the document to the host, Rasheeda gazed at it. Rasheeda said, This can't be real. This is a hoax. Photoshop. But Kirk remained silent. He did not refute it. He simply bowed his head without screaming, It's a lie. Rasheeda gave him a blank stare. Kirk said as her body trembled and she gripped the edge of her chair with one hand over her lips. Kirk, however, remained silent. Suddenly, the reunion was about more than simply the cast. Update. The broadcast had turned into a betrayal to millions of people. Even the messiest cast members remained silent because of the heartbreak's rawness and public nature. Additionally, Rasheeda hadn't even begun. The anger, the tears, the impending clash. The room sat frozen, rash, and whirling. The marriage. Licenses still grabbed as if it were burning in her hand. Between her fingertips, the pages trembled. She could only hear the blood rushing to her head and the hum of the studio lights. There was complete silence among the spectators. Speechless. Not even the often boisterous cast members dared to speak. It seemed as though the building's oxygen had been drawn out. Kirk hadn't spoken at all. His eyes were fixed on the floor, as he sat slouched in his chair and nervously rubbed his hands together. He refused to gaze at Jasmine. He refused to give Rasheeda a glance. He refused to even have a peek at the cameras. In an attempt to take back some control of the situation, the host cleared his throat. Are you verifying that this is accurate, Kirk? A rhythm. Kirk took a breath. At last, his voice was hardly audible above a whisper. Yes, it is accurate. ASHEDN are the 3 words that were broken. Her whole body flinched. As though it were tainted with poison, she dropped the certificate. Her rage was the reason. The tears hadn't fallen yet, not because they weren't there. She got to her feet. With a fury that chilled the room, eyes slowly fastened on Kirk. You wed her. The anger was evident even as her voice trembled. In front of someone you actually stood there and stated promises to Jasmine. Kirk responded immediately that it wasn't like that. Now desperate. There was no plan. It simply occurred. It has to do with the courthouse. We kept it a secret. What exactly are you? Rasheeda raised her hands in the air. Ah, a G and IN, 1. Morning you stated, I think I'll betray the woman who held me down for 20 years. and get married to our family was destroyed by the same female. She retreated when he attempted to touch her. Don't touch me, please. Jasmine watched the inevitable outburst from her seat with her arms crossed. She didn't appear smug as she stared at Rasheeda. Not exactly. It resembled sympathy more, as though she was aware Rasheeda had been played, and she was just observing her in real time when she realized it. The cameras continued to record. This time the producers didn't cut. They gave it a pass. They were aware that this was more than simply TV. Social media was ablaze, and this was history. At the T-Queen reality show. No. Jasmine was Kirk's true wife. Rasheeda is on the verge of setting the entire studio on fire. With him, spill. I'm trembling. Since season 1, I have been a viewer of Lahadal. The craziest moment ever is right now. Incorporate Big Mud Bambi. Literally, the sorrow is visible. It's more than simply drama. It hurts so much. With a trembling but deadly calm voice, Rasheeda turned to Jasmine. How long have you guys been keeping this a secret? Jasmine gave a shrug. Got married half a year ago, private in Vegas, no visitors. Kirk suggested it was time to formally establish our relationship. Made the matter official. Official? Rasheeda gave a sour chuckle. Thus, what on earth was I? Unofficial business? Your children's mother, your partner in brand, your free counselor, your public persona? Please, Rasheeda, Kirk pleaded. I didn't want you to discover out in this manner. You didn't, I see. She took a stride in his direction. Because it appears like you guys planned this. The receipt was brought by her. It was her nerves. How about you? You created the quiet. Jasmine interrupted. You act like you're flawless all the time. Kirk only ever caused trouble for me. But long before I arrived, you and I both knew your marriage was gone. Kirk simply quit acting. Rasheeda's head jerked in her direction. Don't play with me, girl. I am not, Jasmine said. All I'm saying is the portion that no one else will. Bambi said to Scrappy off mic in a whisper. She bowled. Yeah, I would have already been stolen. Rasheeda, you yelled at Jasmine, but this isn't about you. It's about him. This coward is sitting here acting as though he hasn't ruined anything yet. Kirk repeated, barely audible. I didn't intend to hurt you. Stop saying that, yelled Rasheeda, and the tears started to flow this time. You didn't mean to cheat, so every time you say that, it means nothing. The audience became silent once again. You didn't mean to lie. You didn't mean to marry someone else behind my back. What do you mean, Kirk? What do you ever mean? Scrappy glanced down, clearly embarrassed. But this was no longer entertainment. This was a woman breaking live. Uncensored. For once, Carly Red remained silent, observing every action as if she was afraid to breathe too loudly. And then Rasheeda did something unexpected. She took off. Even Jock was massaging his temples as if he had a headache from the drama. The presenter yelled, after her, Rasheeda, are you sure you want to? But she didn't even turn around. She dropped her microphone pack, laid it lightly on the couch, and began to leave the stage. She left the scene right away, walking past the cameras, the actors, and the producers who were shouting, cut Kate and keep rolling. After a whole minute of stillness, the doors banged and she disappeared behind the curtain. Kirk remained sat, Stone remained silent, and Jasmine got up and grabbed her pocketbook. We just lost her for good this time, one producer muttered to another, in the control room. Rasheeda wasn't gone, so what transpired backstage next would shock everyone even more. Not backstage yet. Rasheeda remained upright. She didn't yell at the workers or sob into her hands. They anticipated her to cry, but she didn't. Instead, she was silent, breathing heavily, and her eyes were fixed on the mirror in the green room, as though she were examining a stranger in her reflection. Her spirit felt like it had been split in two, yet her makeup was still flawless. One of the assistants crept in. Are you all right, Rasheeda? Leave, she whispered quietly. The door closed with a click. Rasheeda took off her jewelry first, then her heels, slowly, as if she were taking off her armor. Her expression remained composed despite her shaking hands. It was the sort of peace that follows the last betrayal. Nor bewilderment, nor fear. Only insight, a dot. Outside, the cameras were still rolling in the room. Headsets were spoken into by producers. Kirk continued to sit in startled silence. No one approached Rasheeda, but Jasmine had left the building. Until she resurfaced, no one knew what she would do next. With her eyes dry and her voice as cutting as a sword, Dot was barefoot. During the commercial break, she returned to the stage, and the crowd, staff, and actors all froze, as if a ghost had come back. Kirk blinked as though he was incredulous at what he was witnessing. She said, "Run the cameras." The host glanced uncertainly at the producers and said, "I got something to say." One gave a nod. Rasheeda didn't wait, and said, "We're live in 10. No, let's leave immediately." Rasheeda took center stage with the microphone in, and the screen faded back in. Hand aimed toward the viewer. "Since y'all watching this like it's a game show," she replied, "allow me to tell you the truth." Kirk approached her gently. He sat. "I gave Kirk 20 years of my life. Ra, perhaps we should do this." 20 years later, Rasheeda went on, "I forgiven him when he didn't deserve it. Remained after he humiliated me on television, on blogs, and in real life. I assisted him in starting enterprises. I gave him back my home, my bed, and my heart, and he got married to someone else." The audience muttered, "Some I see you ladies who remained too long for a man who wasn't even man enough to confess the truth." Some gasped, others clapped. Tears sparkled. "You didn't win. You think having Kirk makes you the one?" she said, to Jasmine, turning to the camera without even uttering her name maliciously. But she never broke in her eyes. The crowd roared Dot in the back. "Baby, you've got the leftovers." This is the version of him who lost everything good when he lied. Spice whispered, "She killed that to Bambi." A few crew members were covering their lips. Hey, even Big Tiger looked emotional. Kirk got back up and tried to beg Rasheeda to, "Listen, it wasn't in vain. Don't make fun of me again. This was your last lie." "We done," she said, walking right past him to the edge of the stage and turning around just before leaving. Then she left, leaving the door soft, this time without slamming it. The screen disappeared. The internet was already going crazy about Queen's decision to go black for a commercial. Rasheeda. She returned like a warrior. At Meso TSTV, Rasheeda made the speech of the decade, and Kirk simply sat there like a roach in the spotlight. That's Queen energy. After recording was over, Kirk remained on set, sitting with his head in his hands, and not even Jasmine was present. I'm sobbing genuine tears. He knew the cameras were gone now, but his marriage was gone, and she had disappeared after the disclosure. Perhaps to enjoy her moment, or perhaps to avoid the criticism. He knew that we took us with Sir because we knew that cameras were in the area where we said, but we knew what we said by so floach to me, so we said pre-tab producers command. Quote, producers debated whether to air the entire thing like look, prelay, like look at this. And we all know I've been exploring like with Third, and we all know I've been exploring that path, or maybe to avoid the backlash. Pre-tab. Can we all see the segments unedited with CY? Some people felt uneasy because it was too honest and unvarnished. The final decision, however, was taken by one executive. K-Pole must see this. K-Pole. That night's events were more than simply drama. They included the destruction of a precious bond. A love. Finally, after years of being battered, it broke. Not with a scream or a strike, but with a whisper and a run. What no one saw, though, was what later that evening, Rhea was seen leaving the studio lot by herself, but all changed when Carly, who had stayed behind to pick up her belongings, called. I didn't plan to damage her, but when Jasmine called, she answered out of curiosity and was shocked by what she said. Carly said nothing, but now he's no one's. I just wanted to feel like he was mine at last. Carly said, "What do you mean?" in a hushed voice, and Jasmine hung up. Kirk was not intoxicated when his aide discovered him unconscious in his trailer half an hour later. The medics were summoned, but he refused to get care, saying, "Just leave me alone." He maintained that no one knew, What happened next? Rashed. I didn't go live, I didn't talk to the media, and I didn't publish a thing. She simply disappeared into her silence. Kirk was on the verge of realizing that losing Rasheeda on live television wasn't the hardest part since there was still more to come, and the morning after the reunion, someone else was going to reveal something else. The internet was ablaze, blogs had posted response videos, and Rasheeda's last remarks and clips had gone viral on all platforms. Shade Room Addict shared a picture of Kirk with the caption, "When you realize you married the side chick and lost the queen." And TikTokers were acting out the scene as if it were a movie monologue. The line, "You got the leftovers," became a trending audio with over 500,000 uses. However, Rasheeda remained silent, not a single word, story, or like, while the world laughed. Her Instagram account was entirely dark until 3:33 p.m. When a post went live, there was a dark screen with white letters and text. One sentence, a celebrity swarmed the comments, saying, "Trina, you better walk." A woman who leaves softly is the loudest woman in the room. The post received over 1 million likes in only 1 hour. "I love you, Tiara. You're not alone." Monica made quiet stronger. Candy Bureau even said, "He lost something. Priceless." However, no one anticipated the next speaker since Jasmine appeared uncomfortable and went live without makeup or a filter, simply sitting in her bedroom with her eyes red and her voice low. She remarked, "I didn't do this to hurt nobody because I've been living in the shadows for years." She was a self-assured lady who came onto that reunion platform. "People pulled me like I was a home wrecker." A side note, a thought, but Kirk departed a long time ago, so I didn't force him to. The conversation was harsh. The comments kept coming in. "Stop talking, girl. You knew what you were doing. Now you want to portray yourself as the victim." I never claimed to be flawless, but what I didn't anticipate was being shunned. Jasmine persisted. Following the reconciliation, Kirk has not returned my calls, has not returned home, has not spoken, and then her voice cracked. He also left me. The audience was taken aback when Jasmine displayed the messages she had written to Kirk since the reunion broadcast on her phone, all of which were left on read. She then took out her ring, whispering to me, "He told me this meant forever." "I guess forever ended the moment it went public," she said. I believed Kirk was ghosting Jasmine. But it got worse. Betrayal had become top-page fallout. An hour later, Carly Red went live, not from her home but from the terrace of a restaurant. She wasn't by herself either. Rasheeda. Appeared composed and drinking lemon water as if she had been preparing her return all along. Carly stated into the camera, "Let's really talk," as everyone wanted to communicate. Rasheeda stared directly into the camera, not wanting to criticize anybody. Comments went crazy. She had time today. Not Kirk, not Jasmine. They're already doing it themselves. Rasheeda went on. "But what I will say is that Kirk wasn't just hiding the marriage license. Kissing is how you win." "She's serving class and retaliation." Carly said, "Tell Miss." Rasheeda moved closer as Kirk was preparing a whole other apartment for someone else, and Jasmine was posting her small ring. And I received the lease documents. Virtual gasps. Carly produced a manila envelope and opened it in real time, revealing a dot inside. Kirk Frost secured a contract for a 1-bedroom condo in Midtown Atlanta under a fictitious company name 3 months after the wedding. When Rasheeda asked him who lived there, he said, "Because it Helen Jasmine is certain." Within minutes, websites had screenshots. Fans dug and discovered her in less than half an hour. A 27-year-old, light-skinned, long curly-haired fitness model called Zuri Bell followed Kirk but didn't follow Jasmine or Rasheeda and her most recent tale. A view from the balcony of the same apartment in Midtown. At Uncovered Tea, I just sat back and let the internet handle the dirty job. At Truth Hurts, Rasheeda dealt the ultimate blow and laughed through it. At Justice for Rasheeda, Kirk entangled 3 ladies, none of whom knew about one another. Hours after Jasmine disabled her account, Zuri locked hers and Kirk's, and this man not only fumbled the bag, but destroyed the entire empire. Released. A statement that read, "I never meant to hurt anyone," with a black backdrop and white lettering. I apologize to Rhea, but I'm taking some time to think things through and improve myself. Please respect our privacy. No ownership, no denial. And then the last twist. A voice note obtained by a whistleblower, a former production assistant from the reunion. Kirk said, "We gotta get this over with," in a secret backstage exchange that was captured just before Jasmine presented the marriage certificate. When she learns, it's over. To go on, I simply need it to air. In any case, she's not going anywhere. The video was shared by gossip websites after being uploaded to a fan page. The internet went crazy in a matter of minutes. He staged this for TV ratings at Trap Room Tea. He told Messy Trey that Rasheeda wasn't going anywhere. Take a look at her now. Rasheeda didn't answer, but she didn't have to because a picture of her smiling and carrying paperwork into a lawyer's office the following morning was clearly released. Rasheed, wearing all black, entering the glass doors of Atlanta's leading celebrity divorce law company, her face calm and resolute, as if she had finally weighed herself down and taken up the pen to write her own demise. At the glow-up files. When a lady chooses serenity over agony, the entire world feels it at Rhea, Army divorce lawyer. The photo told it all. The internet didn't need proof. No need for a caption. At a watchdog. It appears that Kirk really believed she was not going anywhere, as TMZ verified within an hour. Rasheeda had formally filed for divorce from Kirk Frost, but what really made the filing explosive was the paperwork. Part of it was leaked online, and Rasheeda wasn't only requesting separation. She was coming for everything, including their real estate, shops, reality TV revenues, and Kirk's property, and she was seeking a thorough examination of all joint ventures, assets, and property. There was more to it than publication cash. She demanded openness and wasn't going anywhere. According to the paperwork, Rasheeda reportedly obtained evidence that Kirk had used company cash to pay Jasmine's rent, cover her vehicle payment, and even purchase an engagement ring using the Frost family business account. Rasheeda, a lawyer, up, and we were shocked to see that this man was using her own money on his side girl, who became his wife. No, tea is boiling, and I hope she drains him. He earned it. Run the records, run the receipts, Rasheeda. Run the entire man. Over. The legal fire was now properly started, and Kirk was caught off guard and posted. The treachery was more profound than anybody had anticipated. Another ambiguous Instagram post. I'm learning. I'm not perfect. Progress takes time. We're not defined by our mistakes. The responses weren't amenable. Weddings aren't mistakes, and hidden condominiums aren't a sign of growth. You just got caught. You're not learning. Jasmine, who was still not on social media, was now in hiding after packing her belongings and leaving Atlanta, according to insiders. Traveled to Houston to stay with relatives. Others claimed that she was in Miami with a cousin, but the internet never forgets. Rasheeda, however, wasn't finished yet. 3 days after the lawyer's picture was released, she did. She introduced a limited edition clothing line called Leftovers, which no one anticipated. In the promotional photo, Rasheeda is seen standing in front of a trash can with the label 2024 on it, wearing a jacket that reads, "Never His." She transformed heartache into a complete brand. Always mine, sold out in 17 minutes, at style with shadow. Businesswoman conduct at Kirk regretsa. The irony was that Kirk was no longer keeping silent when he married Jasmine and offered Rasheeda a moment of her life. Do you regret marrying Jasmine? The presenter of the local Atlanta podcast Reeler. Then Reel asked him, attempting to give him room to explain, after he consented to sit down for an off-camera interview. I regret not handling things differently, Kirk remarked after he paused. That was it. He couldn't bring himself to say what everyone wanted to hear, even if he didn't refute the voice message, the apartment, or the receipts. He stumbled through ambiguous words like uncertainty, time, and privacy instead of saying, I messed up, lost her. But the last nail was not yet there. A former employee of Frost Bistro, Atasha, a young lady, sent screenshots and a voicemail to a gossip website, claiming that Kirk had also been seeing her. They had a brief connection for months, during which Kirk pledged to start over with her and divorce both wives. Kirk's voice was heard stating, "Ain't nobody solid like you," in the voice note. Jasmine is wild. Please don't see me, Rasheeda. You are the only one who can relate to me. At Kirk Frostgate was broken via the internet. Rasheeda, you had 3 teams. Instead of TV, he needs treatment. That marriage license should be burned. Jasmine, Rasheeda, and Tasha require a group discussion without him at this time. This one was not even answered by Rasheeda. She didn't have to. She shared a quiet vlog the next day in which she walked around her newly constructed store. Just soothing music, no captions. She had obviously moved on based on her smile. Realizing that this saga had taken over the whole franchise, the show's producers revealed a surprise follow-up special called Rasheeda, Final Word, which will premiere in 2 weeks and last for 1 hour. No Jasmine, no Kirk. Jazz Rasheda. Her narrative, her interpretation, and her resolution. The trailer lasted about 15 seconds. It was just her sitting there looking into the camera against a white background. He assumed I wouldn't go. He didn't want me to know. He believed I wouldn't make it. Cut to a black dot. The fans went crazy. Queen Rasheeda. At Shabbatwin, I'm watching with a prayer candle and some popcorn. Give this woman a Bet Award, a Tony Award, and an Emmy. Kirk, on the other hand, had become silent once more. Jasmine, on the other hand, had a surprise of her own that had the potential to completely upend everything. Rasheeda had hardly been accepted by the internet. A hazy but very realistic sonogram photo appeared as sold-out clothes were being dropped, and her 1-hour special was being announced when another bomb went off without warning. And a post from Jasmine's recently reactivated Instagram was linked. Just the picture, with no caption. The date on the ultrasound matched the location tag, which said Atlanta Women's Center. Broadcast right away, precisely 1 week following the reunion. A flurry of speculation sprung out. Was Jasmine expecting a child? More significantly, was it the Adwa diver from Kirk? You're telling me that Kirk ghosted Jasmine after they were married, and now Jasmine is pregnant thanks to my Tove? No. In just 3 weeks at Rasheeda Deservacial, she turned from wife to ghost to baby mom once more.